Hi everybody, it's Cathryn from In the Pink Designs. My project today is a little box that has one of the Little Debbie's snack cakes that's a heart. I did my project. I put together what I wanted to put on top, and then I opened this box and I realized that they come in 2 packs, which I tried to make a long box, but what I had worked out, I really liked it on a small square. So I took it out and put it in separate bags, separate cellophane bags. I know if you're giving this, at least in my state, unfortunately, if you're giving this out to people in the office or people in school, you have to have already wrapped ones, like for little giveaways for little kitties. They have to be already wrapped. You can't take them apart. So you can put any other little candies in there if you can't use the Little Debbie Valentines. They also come in chocolate too, which my son and my husband really like. Alright, so it measures 3 by 3 by 1 1/4, and I'm using the new Stamp and Punch bundle, Cutest Cows and Cutest Cows Builder Punch. Right, adorable. You can do a couple different faces, 3 different bodies. The only one of the bodies though is punched out by the punch, but two of the heads you can. And there's some really cute sentiments, and I love these sunflowers. That's one of my favorite things in all of the stamp sets are these set of 3 sunflowers. I also used 2 of the circles from the Stylish Shapes dies. Alright, so what we need for this project is some basic white for stamping. We need a piece of real red cardstock that is 9 3/4 by 7. I used some of this Baker's Twine. This is in the Baker's Twine 3-color pack. It comes with Balmy Blue, Lemon Lolly, and Flirty Flamingo, which matches the DSP. And the Designer Series paper is a Saleabration item that you can get free with a $50 purchase. There's a bunch of DSPs in here that you can get free with a purchase. This is one of them, and that's another there. Yet another, and here's the one we're using. It's called Most Adored. Very cute. I'll show you the papers if you'd like to see them. There's a gold side and then a Flirty Flamingo white and real red side, and I really like it. They're very nice. I think, yep. Alrighty, so that's free with a $50 purchase. Okay. Alright, so the pieces of that DSP we need are 2 pieces that are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 and 4 that are 2 3/4 by 1 inch. Alright, and we need 2 circles from the Stylish Shapes dies. The white one we need 2 1/8, and the real red one is 1 1/4. Alright, so this is my host code. Please put that in for any purchases under $150, not including your shipping and tax. And I will send you a little gift if you put that in. Okay, let me get my Simply scored, and we're going to start on the 9 3/4 inch side. And you want to score at 1 1/4, 4 1/4, 5 1/2, and 8 1/2. Turn it a quarter turn to the 7-inch side and score at 3/4, 2, 5, and 6 1/4. Alright, now I'm going to fold and burnish all of my score lines. Alright, so this can go either way on the long way. There is 3/4 inch strips on the bottom and the top, and 1 1/4 on each side. And this is what we're going to be doing. Okay. All right, so we'll start over here, go to the first score line and cut it to the second score line. Take off the rectangle and just take a tiny wedge off of each side, and that helps us when we close the box, we put it together, nothing will be sticking out on the edges. All right, go to the next two score lines and cut them to the second score line. Take off this little rectangle and wedge some off each side of that square. And that gets rid of those score lines too, which is good. All right, now we're going to take off these 4 pieces, 3 rectangles and a square. We don't need them. And I take off the score line with it. So I go just above the score line, as close as I can, and I take those 4 pieces off. All right, now turn it to the other side. And we're going to count to the second score line, cut it to the second score line, and we're going to take these 4 pieces off. And we're going to go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, take off the rectangle, and wedge the square. And then go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, take off the rectangle, and wedge the square. All right, and now the part that is sticking out the farthest, I'm going to get my corner rounder and I'm going to round both of those corners. And that is actually our flap. All right, and that's what your cardstock should look like after you're done scoring and cutting. All right, I'm going to start over here and I'm going to put glue on both of these tabs. And we're going to connect the score line at the top of the tab with this inner rectangle on the side. And just make sure that they line up nice and straight so that your box is not crooked. Okay, and then we'll go to the next 2 and put some glue on those tabs and attach the score line to the other side of the same rectangle. Okay, and that is your box. Okay, now we need our Designer Series paper, which is Most Adored. It is a Saleabration one, free with $50 of purchases. All right, and we're going to put the 2 that are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 on the top flap and inside the front flap here, top flap. But you don't have to put one inside. I just think it looks nice. And you could even write a little note on there or stamp Happy Valentine's Day. We have that on the Be Mine stamp set. All right, and then the sides are all 2 3/4 by 1. Make sure you put it on this one, not your flap. All right, and I'm going to put them on with liquid glue, and I'll be right back. Okay, now if your flap, if those 2 side pieces are getting in the way of your flap, it's not a big deal for me. You can just either round these with your corner rounder or just trim a little piece off, a little diagonal, but they're not bothering my flap, so I'm just gonna leave them like that. But what we do need to do is take around a 1-inch circle punch and just take a little finger grip so that we know it'll be easy for the recipient to get their cake out. And I ate the other cake that I opened, so that was my Valentine cake. I have to watch it. I've been eating so much junk since the holidays spin around. Okay, so now we'll just let that sit a while and we'll get our basic white for stamping. And we're going to do the little winking face for the cow, which I think is adorable, especially for Valentine's type project. We're using this cow body The sunflowers we're going to be stamping on our 2 1/8 inch circle. And then the sentiment we're going to stamp on our 1 1/4 inch circle. And everything I stamp is going to be with Tuxedo Black Ink. Okay, first let's do our sunflowers in the circle. And I'm just going to center them in there. Great. All right, and then let's first do, let me see the punch. Let's first do the body. Put that right there. And I'm going to punch as I go so I don't wreck anything. Okay. And you could try to punch right on this little head here, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to put my cow face right there. And then I will punch him out. There is also a lot of features of the cow on the punch that you can do if you're not going to stamp it. You can just make a cow from cardstock, different color cardstocks if you want to, without stamping. If you just want to buy the punch. Alrighty. And there's the cow, and now we just need our circle that is 1 1/4, and I'm using the sentiment, "What's moo with you?" You could kind of use that for Valentine's Day. Okay, and that's it for stamping. Now we just need our Stampin Blends. I'm using light and dark flirty flamingo, light and dark smoky slate, and light and dark old olive. All right, so let's start with the sunflowers. Now a lot of the leaves we don't see, so I'm just gonna color the ones over here and at the top. So what I'm gonna do is the bottom part, I'm just going to color with dark old olive, and then fill in the rest with light old olive. You could always color it in afterwards if it does show, but I don't think it's going to. All right, and then with light and dark flirty flamingo, I'm going to do the middles of the flowers in dark and the petals in light. All right. Okay, and then our cow, I'm just going to put a little bit of light flirty flamingo in the ears, just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to take light and dark smoky slate, and I'm going to use the dark smoky slate, and I'm just going to go on the bottom part, maybe up a little bit, of each one of the spots and all of the little tail end. And there's the little feet, hooves. All right, and then I'm going to use light smoky slate to fill in the rest of the spots, and the tail there, and then his hair on the top of his head and his mouth, his whole snout here. Okay. Then I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue, put it right on the neck here, and I'm going to attach the head a little bit tilted. Okay. Alrighty. Now we need our box. And I'm going to get the 34 inches of string. I'm going to open up, let me take this out for now, the top, and I'm going to wind it around here 3 times. I'm just going to put them in a line, not spread them out or anything. I guess I didn't really need 34. You could maybe make it 30 inches, maybe even 28 inches if you want. And then I'm just going to make sure that one of the strings goes underneath all of them where we're going to tie it here. And about a 1/2 inch down from the top, and then I'm going to tie a bow. Alright, and then I'm just going to snip off the ends. So how many inches is this? This is about 8 inches, so I would say 30 inches instead of 34, just to give yourself a little room for tying. Alright, and then I'm going to get dimensionals, and I'm going to put them on the back of my sunflowers, my pink sunflowers, and I'm going to only put them, I'm not going to put them all the way to the top because I don't want them to have a bump if I put them over that. I'm just going to put this in the center over the twine. That's good enough. Okay. Now we're going to put our sentiment, which says, "What's moo with you?" And I'm just going to put a dimensional over here on the bottom left of the sentiment. And then, did I do that? Yeah, that's fine. Then put a little bit of glue up here. I'm just going to put it just so you can see a little bit of the DSP here on this side and this side. Alright, and then for the cow, I need some mini dimensionals. I'm going to put one on the tail and the 3 back legs. Alright, and then I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on his head and body. Ears. Then I'm going to kind of have him right next to this sentiment. He is going to touch a little bit of that circle. Yeah, and he really doesn't show much of the leaves, so I didn't want you to cover them all. Alright, and then for the final touch, I'm going to use the hearts and flowers, and we're going to put one of the petal pink hearts right on the side of the sentiment. Right there. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, my email is below, along with the link to my shop and the link to my blog that has all of the measurements. If you'd like to join my team, the new Saleabration offer is going on right now. You can get $155 worth of product for $99, or you can get $125 plus the beautiful glass mat that has the grid on it. And it comes with a cloth and a little mixing palette too. So if you'd like to join my team, let me know. I'd love to have you. There's a link for that below also. Alrighty, have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.